What is going on, everyone? And in this video I'll be giving you my UFC Vegas 28 main and co-main event prediction like always. But first, let's take a look at the previous event. And in the main event of the last event, we had Rozenstruik taking on Cody Garbrandt, winning that fight for Rozenstruik by a decision in a fight where he didn't exchange in the brawls. He didn't like jump in for when Garbrandt was just holding on to his right hand, about to just unload on him. He didn't get engaged in any of that. He was able to piece him up from the outside a little bit, land some pretty good jabs, and he pretty much beat up Cody Garbrandt for the course of the 5 rounds. So very impressive victory for Rozenstruik. And obviously excited to see where he goes from here. For Carla Esparza, in the co-main event of the evening, we had her taking on Xiaonan. And this was pretty much just a clinic as far as the grappling from Carla Esparza. And it's nice to see her get a victory on the ground, because usually she's winning these fights by a decision. I thought Xiaonan was going to be able to do a little bit more on the feet, but when you fight these gatekeepers that are just so known for what they're going to do, you really have to go in there and you really have to change it. You have to make them look ridiculous on the feet if they're a grappler, and if they're a grappler, if they're a striker, you have to make them look ridiculous on the floor. And she just wasn't able to defend the takedown, and then she just got smashed into the floor. So great win by Carla Esparza for that one. Overall, a pretty solid event. Ben Rothwell getting the victory by submission against Chris Barnett. That was a pretty cool fight to see. Bruno Gustavo da Silva defeating Victor Rodriguez by KO. That was pretty quick. Pretty good stuff. Overall pretty solid card. I think the next card we should see a lot more knockouts, so I'm excited about this one. But yeah, I overall I would say solid, trying to keep up some solid records here per card, and we'll see where we go from here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next card. So obviously we have UFC Vegas 28, and overall I think this card is going to be pretty good. We got some fights here where there's some pretty good underdogs here. There's some pretty good, but there are a lot of favorites. So let's go ahead and show you these, and then we'll go over and talk about the co-main event and the main event. So in the co-main event of the evening, we have Walt Harris taking on Marcin Tybura. And for this fight, I think someone's gonna go to sleep here or get submitted. I definitely don't think that it's gonna go all 3 rounds in this one. We have Walt Harris. He's coming off of a loss against Alexander Volkov by TKO in round number 2, in a fight where he was trying to strike with him. Really isn't going to work out against a volume striker like Volkov. And then obviously came out of that loss against Alistair Overeem by TKO in round number 2, and pretty much where he got taken down and just got smashed out. He kind of gassed out. He was landing some big shots on Overeem, and Overeem was able to survive. And then he ended up losing the fight. He is coming off some tragic moments with his daughter. Obviously the loss of his daughter, so who knows how that weighs on him from that moment that happened to the moment now. Obviously he has a lot to fight for, but you never know, man. That stuff like that, family changes like that, deaths, things crazy, things that just shouldn't happen, they can affect someone forever. So you just don't know if he's just not going to be in that right mindset no matter what happens. So obviously good to see him back out there, but he has a clear victory to win this fight against Marcin Tybura, who I think is someone who I want to say he's the best. He's definitely not a good striker as far as, landing like volume or anything like that. He's kind of a guy who, he wants to get you into the 3rd round, 2nd round when you're gassed out, and then he'll start trying to grapple with you, and then he'll probably try to land a submission. Obviously, as a BJJ black belt, Walt Harris though is a good wrestler. He's a nasty KO person. He can definitely pressure forward. He can land some body kicks. And I do think he can, in this fight, if he plays it safe, he can definitely hurt Marcin Tybura early on. I don't want to see him get too crazy though in the beginning, because maybe he jumps into something and then just gets submitted, and the next thing you know, Marcin Tybura is on top of him trying to land a submission. But I do think if Walt Harris is able to hurt him early on, let him be, just let him be hurt for a little bit, and then in the 2nd round go after him hardcore. Keep that pace, don't gas out. He can't go, but again, like, Marcin Tybura is not Alexander Volkov, so he's not going to be dealing with the kind of lengthiness, the volume. He's not going to be getting head kicked, every 3 seconds and smashed in with leg kicks. and jabbed in the face. Like, he's just not going to be, Marcin Tybura is just not going to bring that kind of volume. So I do think Walt Harris here can be dangerous. I don't think you should count him out, but obviously if Walt Harris goes a little bit too crazy early on, and then next thing you know, he just starts gassing out horribly, I can definitely see Marcin Tybura getting a submission maybe in the 3rd round. But I'm going to go with Walt Harris. I don't want to count him out yet. He has to win this fight. He's coming off of 2 losses, so he definitely has to win this fight. So I think he can still be very dangerous. And I'm going to take Walt Harris to defeat Marcin Tybura. I'll take him to win by KO, TKO. I'll take him to win in round number 2. And then move on into the main event of the evening with another heavyweight fight. And we have Jairzinho Rozenstruik taking on Augusto Sakai. And for this one, Rozenstruik, he's one of those guys where, again, he's not necessarily a volume fighter, which can be a detriment to him if someone like Sakai is kind of just trying to land a lot of volume on him and piece him up for 5 rounds. But at the same time, Rozenstruik, again, he's another one of these guys. He's coming off of a loss against Cyril Gane, which, you know, is a really good fight for him. He didn't get absolutely destroyed. He didn't win the fight, but he was able to hang on for 5 rounds, and he lost via decision. I'm not really worried about this guy's cardio. I do think, though, he needs to definitely go forward a little bit more. He has to land some pretty good shots, and he can't just kind of sit back and wait for Sakai to kind of overvolume him, because I can definitely see that happening. But for Rozenstruik, again, he has to win this fight. I think he's been fighting top-level guys. We saw him take out Junior Dos Santos. He got knocked out, obviously, by Francis Ngannou. But again, he's fighting these top-level guys, and I think he just needs to go for it a little bit more and see what he can do. And I think this is a good test for him if he can go forward, press forward, get in the face of Augusto Sakai, not let him just kind of volume him from a distance, and just do a little bit more than just look for one big shot. He needs to start landing a combination of strikes, maybe some leg kicks, stuff like that, to where I think he can definitely get the victory here. I think if Jairzinho Rozenstruik, if he's able to win this fight, I don't think he's winning a decision. I think he has to put his hands on him. I think he has to take him out. And for Sakai, you know, he might look for some grappling here and there, but Rozenstruik has some really good takedown defense. For Sakai, he's coming off of a loss against Alistair Overeem, where he lost in the round number 5 because he just kept getting taken down. And then he came off of a win over Blagoy Ivanov by decision. Again, he's not necessarily one that's, I don't think he's going to be putting like nasty combinations together on Rozenstruik, because I think he might be a little hesitant to rush in on Rozenstruik. But I think Rozenstruik is definitely going to be the one in this fight to press forward. He has to create no distance, and he has to just get in his face, and he has to just hurt him as bad as he can, and he needs to do it early on. Otherwise, I'm afraid he might get outpaced, and he just might not be striking as much. But you never know. Maybe he's changed it. Maybe he knows his back's against the wall. He knows he has to get in there. So we're going to see what happens with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But I want to take him in this fight. Sakai, I just feel like if Rozenstruik is able to like really go after him and hit him, man, I could see Sakai getting taken out here. So I'm going to go Jairzinho Rozenstruik to defeat Augusto Sakai in the main event. I'm going to take him to win by round 3 KO TKO. Like I keep saying, he has to go for this one. He just has to go for it. So hopefully he does that, and Sakai is not able to get off too much offense, and we can see Rozenstruik kind of get back into the heavyweight picture. Because in the heavyweight picture, man, one knockout here or there, one submission here or there, you know, you can change your whole game. You end up fighting the #1 contender, or you end up fighting the champion the next fight. So you never know, depending on how these guys knock each other out. So with that being said, that'll do it for my UFC Vegas 28 main and co-main event prediction. Like always, I appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, leave a comment down below. Tell me who you are picking if you made it this far into the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.